Good evening. Today I'll be doing a lesson critique on the lesson plan writing on social networks. This lesson plan is developed for beginner classes. It appears as level 2 beginner classes. Um, the lesson plan focuses on using the internet and social media websites such as Facebook, Instagram, etc., as a way to teach the students language they can use in an everyday situation and actually use the internet as practice for their skills. So, one of the things I like about the activity is that it engages the students in many different levels. So, the lesson plan is cumulative and it all centers down at the end. Um, the one thing I will say though is I feel like this activity is a little bit too long for a class. Um, the recommended amount of time spent on the activity on the lesson is 100 minutes. So I don't think if I were to apply this lesson in the classroom I currently teach, I think my students would lose interest after half of it, maybe. Um, yes, 100 minutes is a lot. But there are many positive things about this lesson. For starters, I think one of the activities, um, the last activity, that is, let's see if I can open that really quick. There we go. The activity that looks at people's comments online and has you record your own comments. I think that's very innovative because you don't see this in the classrooms as much. Uh, Another thing that I do like is that it brings the students outside of their comfort zone, since for the write-up part of it, these students have to get out and distribute their paper to different classmates of theirs. So that would be something that I would like to use in one of my courses, because I do have problems with my students being very shy and refusing to leave their table and talk to other students. So this same activity, I like it because it follows the CLT methodology. Um, I think it's very interactive because it has the students use language that they would use in a daily situation in their lives. Um, and this is a real life scenario that many people encounter every day nowadays in the era of social media. So I do like that part of the activity. Overall, the exercises are pretty good too. The students will first do a warming activity where they recognize the apps and discuss whether they use it and what they use to talk with their friends. Then they read the comments, the sample comments, and then they answer a number of questions about the comments and the posts. Um, it seems pretty straightforward. Um, and then the writing part, of course, to uh, finish everything off. And part of the cooler activity, as it's referred, is the classmates reviewing each other's comments and whatnot, which I think is pretty funny. Uh, the professor does, or whoever wrote the lesson plan does mention though that um, students will only reveal that if they feel comfortable doing so. Uh, a lot of them might have issues with their privacy, so be careful with that. I do like that the activity can be used two different ways. The task 3, which is the writing portion, can be done online to have the closest to the real life scenario using the NiceNet uh, website. So it's basically a virtual tool for teachers. Or they can use the paper, which is obviously in this situation will be a little easier, in case you don't have computers like I don't have any in my classroom, so that will probably help me. On the cons, I already mentioned how long the activity is. That's one of the things. My class, like the class I teach, it's about 100 minutes, and this will probably take up most of it. And another problem is that the teacher does mention, or whoever wrote the lesson plan does mention, that you might run into the problem that students are not all familiar with social media websites, or how to use a computer, or how to use one of these websites. So I feel like that would be something that would have to be tackled. That would probably take a lot more time from the classroom and from the the students learning. Another thing I noticed, well, maybe the time might not be that much of an issue, but whoever made this lesson plan gave a lot of time um, for the warmer, for setting up, 10-15 minutes, and that's kind of how it gets big at the end. Just considering the abilities of my beginner level course, I would say that they wouldn't take this many minutes to get over these activities. So I'm not sure there to think about that. But overall, I like the activity mostly because it follows. It's very interactive. It has the students acknowledge different things that they would see in their daily lives, and I think it's a very modern thing to bring to the classroom. I would try to use it in my classroom only if given the opportunity, where the teacher would approve. Um, she doesn't want to deviate that much from the grammar-based exercises, so I don't know whether this activity would be that easy to pull off. And another problem, like I said, is I don't know whether all my class is capable of using social media websites or understands the concept of a social media website. So that'll be something that would take more time to prepare. So that we would have to account for that as well. It's overall the activity is just very big. It's very well thought of and very well organized, but it's massive. It's a little scary for new teachers like myself, but I hope I can eventually get to work on something like this in one of my own classrooms. So overall, I do like the activity. I am a little scared of doing something this massive in one of my classrooms, but I do want to get to that point. So I would like to try to use some of the exercises that are present here in the student worksheet in the next classroom I teach. Mostly this segment, I have the problem that I already mentioned, where my students don't want to get out of their desks. I've tried different CLT activities for them to get out of the desk and talk to other people from the classroom they normally don't associate with. So far to no success. So I would like to try the commenting activity. I will probably have them read a segment like this as well, with social media comments, just so they can get an idea of it, and then have them work on this blank sheet. I've had something very similar in the recent past, but like I said, they didn't want to talk to any other classmates. So I want to give it another shot. Well, thank you very much, and have a good day.